I sometimes think courage smells like burnt toast and baby spit up and those overwatered Christmas poinsettias still hanging around in March, stubborn as a confession you keep meaning to make. We've dressed courage up as fireworks and headlines and jaw lines and coffee mugs. But in the Catholic heart of things, courage is quieter. It's thicker. It's heavier. It lives in the bones. It's simply the strength to remain faithful when every fiber wants to fold the tent and go home. This is A Quiet Catechism. Welcome, my friend. Today we're exploring the weight of courage, how it moves through your work, your play, your family, and those secret Gethsemane places in your own calendar. We often treat courage like a mood, as if one morning you just wake up and you feel brave and that's that. But courage is not a mood. It's a virtue. And a virtue is a habit that has been trained to love what is good, even when it hurts. Courage is what love looks like when love costs something. In Gethsemane, Christ did not look courageous. He looked terrified. He sweated blood. He begged that the cup might pass. But he said yes. And that yes is the holiest word courage knows. So when we talk about courage, we're not talking about Instagram bravery, right? Not dauntless slogans on coffee mugs, not dramatic gestures for an audience, right? We're talking about that hidden yes that stays put when everything in you wants to run. Every honest job is a small vocation in the orchestra of creation, and every vocation carries quiet chances to betray the truth for comfort. The accountant who fudges the line for a client, the teacher who lets a lie stand just to keep the classroom calm, the priest who dodges a hard homily because kindness feels easier. You know these moments. We all do. Courage in the world of work is fidelity, and nobody claps. It's the janitor who locks up after cleaning vomit out of the hallway, the nurse who stays 1 hour past her shift for a frightened patient, the parent who carries the weary body of duty back into tomorrow. St. John Henry Newman called conscience the aboriginal vicar of Christ. Isn't that great? Courage listens to that vicar when it would rather listen to the applause. Courage speaks when silence would advance a career. Courage stays when quitting would feel like better self-care. John of the Cross called this endurance the dark night, that place where the soul feels the absence of all light, but keeps walking anyway. That's not recklessness. That's fortitude, the slow heartbeat of faith in motion. Courage without prudence becomes nonsense, a firecracker masquerading as the sun. Courage without charity becomes cruelty. Courage is balanced like a saint's gravity. Saints don't strut. They endure. To play well in God's world is not to escape it, but to honor its joy. We need courage to laugh cleanly, to take delight without turning it into consumption or control. There is courage in Sabbath rest that refuses to become just another productivity tool, and courage in joy that does not hide from the suffering of others, but plays anyway, as a sign that suffering will not have the final word. Play is the child's theology, right? There's holy boldness in the toddler who splashes in puddles like a tiny king of creation. There's spiritual depth in the artist who paints with gratitude instead of prestige. There's courage in rest, because rest trusts that the world is still God's, even when we do nothing to fix it. Madeleine Delbrel spoke of the courage to live in the street, to dance, even when you are alone. And what I hear her saying is it takes courage to rejoice without an audience, to delight without needing to be seen. Courage in play resists the pressure of spectacle and addiction. It gives thanks simply for being. Let's pause for just a minute. So far, we've seen that courage is not a passing feeling, but a virtue, a trained habit of loving what is good even when it hurts. We've watched it show up in work as quiet fidelity in the dark night of endurance when no one is watching, and we've noticed that even play and rest require courage. The courage to laugh without domination, to rest without guilt, to rejoice without turning life into a performance. If I bring that into one simple line, it sounds like this. Courage is love with a backbone. In the office, at the playground, in the silence of your own heart. Now we step into the small domestic church, where courage has no mountaintop crowds, only crying toddlers and weary eyes, and the echo of half-finished apologies. This is the furnace of love that wants to give up, but somehow does not. To stay present in the household of human frailty is no small act. It's heroic obscurity. It means saying sorry first, even when you feel half right. It means forgiving when the other person has not yet earned your imagination's goodwill. It means bearing the silence between a husband and a wife feels colder than the garage in February, and choosing to believe the silence will thaw. Dorothy Day knew that courage. She wrote of the long loneliness and found Christ hidden there. Franz Jägerstätter had that courage when he refused Hitler and lost his life for the truth that the soul is not subject to the state. And parents share that courage when they pray with cracked voices because their children have drifted, yet still leave the porch light on in hope. Bernard of Clairvaux said, "Courage without humility makes devils of angels. True family courage kneels. It bends before pride breaks. It listens again. It kisses foreheads, even when tired. It carries the fear that I might love more than I get back, and loves anyway." Our age is very talented at mistaking adrenaline for courage. It baptizes recklessness as bravery. Social media cries out for fearless voices, but many of those voices are loud, mostly just to mask despair. Recklessness is just impatience with the slow pace of love. Domination calls itself strong while secretly afraid. Vanity performs bravery so that mirrors may applaud. Escapism calls itself adventure. Despair calls itself realism. The church's tradition purifies all of this by binding courage to truth, humility, and love. St. Catherine of Siena once told the Pope to be a manly man, firm and free of fear. And yet her boldness never tasted of arrogance. It was courage soaked in charity. Romano Guardini said, "Courage is the willingness to stand serious before reality." That's the opposite of performative fearlessness. It's reverence before what is real, even when reality wounds you. Courage is not the waving sword, but the lifted cross. Its shape is Calvary. Its taste is tears and resurrection. The courage of Acts, ordinary apostles before emperors, and the courage of the psalmist whispering through fear always grows from the Spirit, never from swagger. Adrian von Speyer wrote that courage participates in Christ's obedience. It's not an achievement, but a companionship. Every one of us has a Gethsemane folded into our calendars. It might be the meeting where you must tell the truth, or the bedroom where you must forgive, or the quiet morning when you must face your own weakness without flinching. Courage is rarely dramatic. It's the grace that helps you hold steady when fidelity grows heavy. So what does that mean for you this week? For me? For our real lives? Courage this week may mean returning one phone call that you've avoided. Just one. Or saying to your spouse, "I forgive you," before the feeling arrives. Courage might be refusing to add your voice to the chorus of complaint at work. Or it might be taking a deep breath at the dinner table. Just giving thanks, even when everything feels unfinished and frayed around the edges. The Catholic tradition calls this virtue fortitude. In that light, it's not rare air for warriors. It's the daily breath of ordinary saints. Courage is love with a backbone. And love, dear friend, is what the soul was made to carry. So very concretely this week, you might choose one hard conversation where you will speak the truth gently rather than avoid it. Protect one small space of rest, a walk, quiet cup of coffee, believing the world is still God's, even when you are not fixing it. Offer one act of hidden fidelity at work or at home that nobody will see but the Lord. These are small weights, but whenever you lift them with love and say yes again, when you go back into the classroom or the factory or the marriage or the confessional, you're part of the same courage that built the church on blood and laughter and bread. As you step back into your ordinary life, may you remember that courage does not always feel brave. Often it feels like fatigue or awkwardness or that quiet ache right before you do the next right thing. Courage is not far from you. It's already in your bones because Christ has shared his courage with you. So may the Lord bless your work, the visible and the invisible. May he bless your play and your rest, your porch light hopes and your long loneliness. May he meet you in every small yes you make this week, especially the ones nobody else will ever notice. And until we meet again in this quiet catechism, may you know deep down, you are loved, you are accompanied, and you are being gently taught how to carry the weight of courage. Let's begin.